Good
Hello.
afternoon, everyone. We are going to get started here in just a few minutes. Hang tight and we will plan for a 2 p.m. sharp start time.
Thank you. Sorry, so I have a webinar. No way.
Good afternoon, folks. We're going to give it a few more minutes before we get started. We just want to make sure that your technology is working okay. If you have any issues at any point, please feel free to email me directly at bespoke@leaptodigital.com. In the meantime, at the bottom of the screen, you'll see a couple different options. We're going to try out our chat option right now. So if you want to put in the chat what your role is at your company's for your company's marketing, on the marketing team, things like that, if you want to go ahead and put it in the chat, and we'll make sure that function is working.
Hello. Kristen?
Hey, Greta, what's up?
For some reason it says that I'm not a panelist, so it won't allow me to.
I'll fix that. Hold on.
Thank you.
All right, you should be good now.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, welcome and thank you so much for joining us for today's webinar, Unlocking the Marketing Mysteries for 2022. My name is Kristen. I'm thrilled to be introducing to you our incredible panel of marketing experts for today's presentation. Today's webinar is made possible in part by Leap, which is the #1 digital sales platform for contractors, which helps eliminate redundancies and errors that slow down your sales process. So to get started today, I'm going to launch a poll here shortly, and we want to know a little bit more about what your marketing goals are for 2022. So I'm going to get that going and launch that, and we'll see what people are looking to do in the new year. Lots of lead generation focus. Some social media, a couple people unsure. Awesome. Looks like we have got a big emphasis on the lead generation for 2022. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you being part of that. So I am thrilled to announce or to introduce one by one our panel for today. We have Vicki, Savannah, Greta, excuse me, and our moderator, Erica. So I'd like each of you to introduce yourself, and Vicki, we'll get started with you.
Okay. I'm Vicki Kiger. I'm the marketing director for Exterior Source in Tidewater, Virginia, and Exterior Source of Central Virginia. I have 2 different jobs, and I handle all the social media, all the marketing, the advertising, public relations, community events, whatever is involved in marketing and advertising. And I work with the sales team, of course, on their projects. And it's just a combination of marketing and communications.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Vicki. Savannah, we'll move on to you next, please.
Hi, I'm Savannah Forster. I'm the IT and marketing strategist with Minnesota Rusko. I've been with them for about 6 years now, in the marketing field for about 12. And I just work on the strategy to help build our lead volume and be consistent.
Excellent. And Greta, you're up next, my dear.
Hi, how are you? My name is Greta Bayrami. I'm the owner of Golden Group Roofing. We're a roofing company in the suburbs of Boston, Massachusetts. And I specialize here in the branding and marketing approach, just because we are a bit different than most roofing companies, since I am a young owner of, now I'm 32.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Greta. And last but not least, I am thrilled to introduce Erica, who will be our moderator for today. So Erica, please introduce yourself.
Hi there. My name is Erica Mossy. I am the director of content for Pro Remodeler, which is a media brand that reaches 90,000 remodelers and people in ancillary fields, excuse me, around the country. And I am thrilled to be here to moderate this panel.
Perfect. Ladies, thank you so much for being here. We're really excited to chat about quite an array of things. And I will let you take it away here, Erica. And at any point, if any of you guys have any questions, please put it in our Q&A box or the chat box, and we will get to those at the end. Otherwise, to our experts here, you guys can take it away.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. So first of all, to set the stage, I wanted to invite people to chat if they have a question, if they have an opinion, if they have something funny that their dog is doing, anything that you want to put in that chat, go right ahead. I also thought that I would start by setting the stage about sort of where we are coming from in 2021, and then talk a little bit about what we're looking at in terms of marketing and lead gen in 2022. So 2021, I think, across the entire remodeling spectrum, whether it's design, build, home improvement, roofing, wherever you are, you had this incredible push of business. You have all these people that are wanting to do stuff on their home. So that's like a huge tailwind there. And then you have this contrasting push against being able to find anybody to actually install the projects, and also being able to get the products that you need for the projects. And so it's this really weird dynamic that's been happening that's very, very powerful. I don't know what the folks on this call, what their situation is, but a lot of people I talk to in the field have backlogs that are not healthy for their business, and their revenues are affected by the backlogs that they have coming into 2022. They've closed their books already, and they really are a long way from being able to get all the work done. I know some people on the window installation side, I think appliances and windows and lumber are like really big pain points. On the Windows side, I know people who, there's one window owner of a company that I know who had a business. She had a customer and she wanted to install their windows, and the person was selling their house in 6 months and she could not get the windows. And they went ahead and sold their house without the new windows because she could not get the product in there. So I think that's a big pain point as well. And I think that going into 2022, the twin efficiencies of marketing and also dealing with the operational side of the business under these challenges are going to be how companies are judged. And I think it's a really interesting dynamic. It's challenging in many ways, but it's also exciting in many ways, because how nimble can we be as an industry to deal with this? We also have rising inflation, which, you know, many people are saying, what's that going to do to the demand out there? Is the demand going to dampen because the inflation is coming up? And we possibly have the Fed signaling that they're going to rise interest rates. That's just like a foregone conclusion that is going to happen probably sometime in the first quarter. And so what's that going to do to the financing spectrum? What's that going to do to consumer confidence? How much is it going to go up? Probably not much, but is this the beginning of a few increases in interest rates? All of this stuff remains to be seen. So in this environment, I would love to hear from one of you, whoever wants to start, talk a little bit about where you see your marketing going for 2022. What are some of your big goals from a lead gen and marketing standpoint? Anyone wants to start? Come on, somebody. I need like a brave person to get out there.
So I think a lot of marketing now is focusing towards the digital side of things. I think it gives you an opportunity to really target the demographic that you're aiming for, whether it be in home improvements or any other type of marketing. I think our goal is to really just build our brand, get our message out there so people see the type of company that we are, the values that we have, those kinds of things. Because it really, it's an unmeasurable for us, but it affects everything else. If, our brand gets out there with our TV, that's going to affect our digital. That's going to affect, our in-person live events. That's going to affect our newspapers or postcards, that kind of stuff. So it really is just building that brand.
So you're going on multiple touch points and having each one operate from, in conjunction with the other one, it sounds like.
Yep. And having that consistency in your message.
I know, Vicki, you're a big fan of that approach as well. Do you want to talk to that a little bit?
Yeah, our goal, well, I like to have a very integrated marketing mix. I like to have a couple of different things going on at one time, because branding is very important to us, but our owner wants leads. Branding's nice, but leads, because that's what keeps us in business. So we're looking at some new things for 2022. We're in our slow period now. During the, when it gets warm, and you've got, I'd say with us in Virginia, March through November, around Thanksgiving week, all that's fairly strong. I mean, it has ups and downs, but that's pretty strong. Now we're in December, January, and February. Those are not strong months for us. So even with good weather, people just have other things on their mind. They have the holidays, and then they have cold weather, and they don't think about it. So we're trying to get more lead generation in this time period. That's when we need it, and that's when we can test it. So I've got about at least 3 new things that we're working on. Digital is very important to us, but even now during this season, digital is still not what it is during the rest of the season. So you've got to look elsewhere, and you've always got to be testing and trying new things constantly because you don't know what's going to work.
So when you say you have 3 new things that you're working on, what are you doing?
So a couple of things we're doing, House, we started a program with House. It's brand new for us. We're doing a sponsored program with them. It's just about to start. And the reason why we're trying that is because we have another company that we chat back and forth with all the time, and they've done pretty well with it. So we thought this is a good test. It's not expensive. It's worth the test. We're doing a Facebook lead gen campaign with a form fill, and that's going to start in January. Again, someone else I've spoken to does really well with that. I don't know if it's going to work for us, but we're going to test it because that's the only way we can tell. And then EverConnect has come up. I don't know a lot about it. It's with remodeling.com, and we're going to be testing that, I hope. It's in its infancy. So they don't even offer, I believe, gutters with that, and that's our #1 product. So we would have to test, I think, windows with that first, which is not one of our strongest products, but that's something I'm looking at in maybe first quarter. And we're testing Nextdoor. I think Nextdoor has a future. I don't think it's right now. I'd say we have great impressions, and they're growing and growing and growing. But the leads we've been doing it since October. We've had 8 leads and 3 sales. That's not gonna keep that program around. But I think that program, if they can get it's very cumbersome. If they can get some of that worked out, I think that might be something down the road for us to all consider.
Do you mean cumbersome from like a user interface perspective? Like it doesn't.
From our standpoint, they don't have good customer service right now. It's lacking, and they don't explain what the programs they're offering. You have to kind of weed your way through it. I tested one in one office and one in the other, and one is definitely better than the other. So you have to find out what the sweet spot is and do that. But they do give you good impressions, but I think it's a long-term lead gen. I don't think it's something that's short and fast.
So Vicki, we have a couple of questions on the chat for you here, which I love. And so the first is from Amy Baird. Can Vicki share who she's using for the Facebook campaign?
Well, that's the people who handle our website. That's Socius Marketing.
Okay.
So they're going to start it for us because they've got some experience with it. I looked into it, and it looks I needed their help in order to be able to do it. So we're gonna let them try it, and then if it works out, then I'll just take the campaign over.
Thank you. That's great. And then also Amy asked, so Lena Rivera said that Nextdoor does not do great for them. And so they use it more for brand awareness. So that's kind of a confirmation of what you just said. And then also Amy wants to know what program is the last one that you're talking about that isn't as effective?
Well, with Nextdoor, you need to do an offer. You can also do on Nextdoor a program where you can, I don't know what it's called. It's kind of more brand awareness. Don't even bother with that. Do the offer, because nobody's going to care one thing about your program unless you have an offer. And the other program, which got a funny name to it, it doesn't offer that at all. So that's what I would do, is do the offer if you're going to test it. It's not expensive. We're spending $647 a month, and we get 187,892 neighbors within a 10-mile radius. And that's all you can do is a 10-mile radius. So it's worth trying.
I guess it also for like a shorter period of time, you don't have to, they don't ask for a long-term commitment, I'm assuming.
Right. You can do it monthly. That's what we've been doing.
Okay. Now, Greta, on to you. Hi.
Hi. Yes.
Yeah. So tell me what you're doing, like what your marketing mix looks like for 2022, specifically maybe in the first quarter.
Yeah, so our marketing is a bit different. Nonetheless, it produces leads and results. I've gone back to the basics of just blogging and social. So what I do with my team is that we create a blog every time on every home that we do, every project, and we tag all the key traits of that project, all the key photography of that project, and we sort of create a portfolio of every single client that we meet within our website. And the reason we do that is because then we can take that authentic project and then we can redirect it on all our social platforms. We can redirect it on our Facebook groups. We can even send it to other potential clients in the area that we've estimated. So we're going back to basics again. We've sort of eliminated all third-party lead generations, like, you know, the Angie's List or the neighbor next door. We've eliminated all of those and we've gone back to this basic where we have a writer along with a team member that worked that project write the article. It's a very insignificant cost. Usually it runs around $200. And then we have our digital team put it on the website, create a link. The link, I will say the hyperlink is extremely crucial and important because the more authentic you can make it, the better it's going to perform on SEO. And then we continue sharing that and we make socials around that. We make blogs around that. We make mini stories around that. So that's been honestly the most authentic ways to generate leads. And there's a form fill inside that blog. So people that land on that are able to fill and we know exactly where it's coming from. And then another one that we've been doing back to basic is network marketing. I know that it looks different for everybody depending on COVID regulations in their town, but we're trying to open the door to those network marketing and collaborations. So for example, if there's like there's Metro West Women's, for example, like we will go to their events and we will like co-host it and co-brand ourselves within those groups. I think it's going back to basics for us. And this co-branding has been really powerful. Again, I try to find places where I know the people that are attending are also homeowners, and then I'll co-brand with them. And it doesn't have to be in the trades. It could be, like I said, a women's group, a league, a chamber, and we are there. We're shaking hands and we're doing light sponsorship. Usually it doesn't cost more than a couple $100, to buy hors d'oeuvres and wine. And it's been great. It's working really well. And then lastly, our campaign has always been digital. So I'm a huge fan of videos and I'm a huge fan of continuing the educational curve. I think videos are sometimes not done enough or done well enough. I like to invest a good chunk, usually a couple of $1,000s a month with a videographer to make videos about questions that I see that are trending on Google. And the way you can see questions that are trending on Google, you can literally kind of put a couple of keywords and you will see what the trending searches are within your area for roofing. So what I do is I actually create YouTube videos and I create Facebook videos and Instagram videos exactly on those search terms. I'm literally answering people's search terms in high-end video format, obviously under 30 seconds or 60 seconds.
Oh gosh, Greta, I have so many questions for you, both from me and from the chat as well. So the first question is Lena again, and I had the same question. What do you mean by an authentic link? Do you mean the actual URL is authentic?
Yes.
Okay.
The actual URL.
So you
don't
don't
try to
want
make
to be
it
a bunch of like gibberishy URL. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So like if you want to make it like Certainty Roof Replacement in Lexington, right? goldengrouproofing.com/ like the more like resourceful you can make it for an SEO engine to find that, because sometimes what people do, they'll like write page 57 roofing and the town name, and sometimes that's not really really good. It's not going to give you traction because you want traction on that page as quickly as possible.
That's clear. Thank you. That's a great tip. And then there's another question here from Alexandria Caruso, and she is asking about, and this is a big topic, taking photos of installations. So yeah. She writes, how do you find people to consistently take photos of installations? Do you have your installers do that, or an intern or a full-time member? And I would add even sometimes, or the clients, if it's the right kind of client. Yeah. How do you, and I would also ask you, jumping off from there for a sec, what is that process like? Like,
yeah, great question.
Do you have a process in place for that?
Yeah, so it's our sales team that takes the pictures and our production team, and we have a big group chat going with everybody. And it obviously sometimes like there'll be little insights. Sometimes there's nothing for it. It's just fun for them to see who took the better picture. Sometimes it'll be like gift card to the person that like delivers 5 pictures by 12. But I'm constantly making it fun. I've added it's called the social group, and it's just a thread where you share photos, and sometimes it's silly photos, which we want those too. You know, we want like people in the trunk like being funny, guys being ridiculous, you know, with each other. It's just fun. And I will say, like, when you motivate people to take a picture and you make it like a soft competition between each other and you make it fun, it gets people creative. And sometimes, you know, they want this recognition too. They want to have the funniest video and they want to have the coolest photography. So I think that's going to look different from everybody. If you have a good sales team that's willing to help you out and they understand the importance of lead generation, it's essentially to benefit both production and sales, because production needs the jobs to keep coming and sales needs this, you know, the leads to keep going to make a sale.
Yeah, and I think that the takeaway that I'm hearing is you've got to like bake it into your process. You have to make it part of your process, and it almost becomes, and I think the same is true with reviews, it becomes a lead gen system in and of itself. I think people, as a recommendation, should treat their reviews like it's a source of leads, because it is, especially if you know the review is going to be good, you know. And I think companies that do that successfully do get a very high percentage of their business off of those reviews. So same is true with this.
Erica, also, Company Cam is a way for your company, your installers and your salespeople to take photos as well. We use that in one of our offices, and so they can tell me a project and they'll have taken pictures from the beginning all the way to the finish. And I can pick out, like today, there was probably 60 pictures in this one project, and I could just cherry pick what I wanted to use for social media. So it's called Company Cam, and it's been really helpful for us.
And, you know, it's interesting. Company Cam is relatively new in the market, but they are getting so much traction. Like they are really, really, I think, increasing their market visibility quite a bit, which is exciting. I think it's an exciting time for any company that serves home improvement on the technology side. I mean, it's just growing, and I think the number of users that are coming on board and really embracing these technologies are growing all the time. Look at Leap, you know. So an example. So
I've kind of something to kind of add with the marketing, because it seems like, you know, both Vicky and Greta had mentioned, you know, the Facebook advertising. And we do a lot with Facebook. I have a pretty significant amount of our budget put into Facebook every month for our like sweepstakes drawings. And it seems like, you know, all of these different sources are great opportunities, but you really need to make it work for your company. So, I mean, with Greta, she's doing a lot of like posting and videos and blogging and stuff like that. And that's working for her, and that's fantastic. And on our side, we're doing these sweepstakes entries, and then we have a team of people in our marketing department that are actually following up and having these live conversations with these people, because they're entering to win a free bathroom or windows, and it's turned out to be one of our most profitable sources. So it really is trying to figure out the strategy that you're going to use with each of these different sources and make it work for your company.
So it's interesting you bring that up. We have an event that we do called Extreme Lead Gen, that we're actually going to be doing next fall. We're we're creating a really exciting big event. And in this year's Extreme Lead Gen conference, we had someone who did a presentation on these sweepstakes and how to make them work for you. And one of the big takeaways out of that is that the leads themselves are lower quality, but if you have the bandwidth to follow up on those leads, it's a very, very profitable way. Your cost per lead is really low, and you can do really well with them. And one of the recommendations that he made is sort of starting with, don't go crazy in the beginning if you're introducing a sweepstakes, because you're going to be inundated with people, and you want to sort of, like, what was your first sweepstakes that you did? What was the prize on it?
Yeah, so we actually do 2 drawings every year for $50,000 sweepstakes giveaway. And we've actually introduced this to all of our trade shows as well too. And these are top 3 performing sources out of all of our avenues. We have a full marketing department to be making calls. So it is a lower like quality, but it's just like, you know, if you were out canvassing or at a county fair, it's an impulse buy for these people at that point. So typically you're going to have less purchases, more leads, less purchases, but a higher ticket item because people are using their emotions at that point. You're catching them off guard. So it really is just a different type of marketing.
Interesting. And it's done and it's been worth it for you, obviously, or you wouldn't keep doing it.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so let's jump around a little bit, jump back a little bit. Someone asked about email newsletters. Bill Holleran, have you tried email newsletters, e-newsletters, and how have they performed for you? Anyone?
I do. We do. I do one for each office per month, and we've been doing that for several years. And while I don't know that it's a tremendous lead generator, it's a way, it's low hanging fruit because it's current customers. We update the database. So we're always sending it out to the most current customers, but we use, we go all the way back. I have 5,000 names in one database and I think 3,500 in the other. So it's a way for us to keep in contact. We give relevant information. It's not a sales pitch. We put something maybe down at the bottom, or if we're running a sale, we'll make sure we say that. But the newsletter has 2 or 3 articles that are home related, that they're not hard sales. So it's brand awareness, but we do put a little bit of information. If we have a new product, we introduce it, but we do it every single month without fail. And we've had some nice comments. The one I did for the holiday season, we've already had some nice comments back. So it keeps us in front of people. Top of mind awareness is critical. And that's one of the ways we use, why we use that.
You get a pretty good open rate?
Yes, actually we get a really good open rate. The click-through rate is not always good. It depends on what I've got on there, but the open rate is 30 to 40%. I mean, it's
extremely high.
Really good.
Vicky, that's
really
phenomenally good. What are your subject lines like to get that kind of open rate?
They're not, the subject line of the email is not all that exciting. It might be, holiday fun, or it might be, let's see, live outdoors. I mean, I'm just making these up. I can't remember them all, but it's what's the content inside. I look at it, trying to look at it from my standpoint, what is relevant to that homeowner. In the summer, we'll put, here's 5 ways to clean your deck, or here's 10 different types of furniture you might consider for outdoor living. Or how about a new fire pit? Here's 5 different examples of a fire pit that you might choose in all different price ranges. We're always trying to do something that affects the homeowner, like information they can use. It's like when I watch HGTV, I want to learn something that I can use for my own home. And that's how I approach the newsletter.
So, and I want to reiterate something that you said here, because I think it's so important and so key, is that by not doing the hard sell in that newsletter, you are positioning yourself as a trusted authority, as an educational leader, as a partner with them in making decisions about their home.
Yes.
Rather than somebody who's trying to sell them something. And it's getting that trust and getting that position of authority in their lives and in their decision-making process that will get you that sale down the road when they want to make the decision to do whatever it is that they're going to use you for, which is awesome.
It's top of mind awareness. And I know people who, I go to chamber events who are members of our chambers, and different groups like a Power Hour group, which is a women's group. And I go to these events and people come up to me and go, oh, I just love the newsletter. You gave me 10 tips how to clean my kitchen or something. Well, I didn't come up with them. I mean, they're out there and I pull them into our newsletter, but it's information that I feel is relevant to the homeowner to help make their life easier. And it all revolves around the interior or exterior of the home.
Yeah. Yeah, very, very interesting. Another topic that's come up here on the chat is this question of home shows. It's always an interesting question. What are people's plans for home shows in 2022? Are you going to bring them back into the mix? Are you exploring the idea?
Up until last year, home shows were really one of our top producing sources. We've always found them to be a great source for leads. And like I said, we use the same sweepstakes that we do on Facebook in our home shows. So we're really able to build our database with this. currently I have a very full schedule set up for January through the beginning of April, just for trade shows and other face-to-face type of interactions that we can have with customers. I really do think, with the pandemic, people have been cooped up in their homes for so long, and they want to get out. So it's just another area where you can find your potential customers. You don't have to just do, paper advertising or TV advertising. Now you have an opportunity to meet them and speak with them, show them your products.
That's interesting. And that's, I'm sort of not surprised to hear you say that. I'm sort of hearing a lot of things about home shows in the mix. How about you, Greta? What is your position on home shows?
Yeah, so home shows for me have never been about leads. I've always been about branding. At least that's not to say that we haven't gotten leads from them. That's just how I've always approached them. So when I go to home shows, I always try to find like what's the theme that we're going to do that for that particular home show. The theme that's worked for us a lot has been the roofing calculator. We have a roofing calculator that's built into our website. It was a very inexpensive cost. It only cost $6,000 to build. But there's also apps that you can use that are roofing calculator. I think there is a roofing calculator now out. I saw it at the IRE. But so with that being said, I always try to find a pull to get people excited about roofing and to make them understand how we handle it. And it's more just like a fun event. One year we had we built like a roof and we had like all the mistakes done on it, and a homeowner that can guess the most mistake will get like a $25 gift card to Starbucks.
Oh, I love that.
So it was just like a fun way. I've always approached it that way because it allows our team to have fun and there's no pressure on them either. Because we do involve our whole team on the home shows. We don't bring in people just for the home shows. It's our team, it's our marketing team, or it's our sales team that have volunteered their time to be there. Obviously they get compensated hourly, but it's more so, again, they don't have to be there, but it's nice that they're there because they get to see the homeowner in a different way. So I think for home shows is find what works for you. But for me, home shows have always been about branding, and I've never approached them anything other than that. If people want to book an appointment, great. We have our iPads ready to go. They'll book. So I find that it's a more relaxed setting for us, and it's just a fun way for us to hang out with our clients where they're coming to us and we're not always going to them.
I think it's interesting the different ways that home shows can be used. I enjoy that. How about you, Vicki? What is your stance on home shows?
Well, we did one in the fall last year. So they started up, I believe this was the end of October. So we tried it. It was a pretty slow show. We did get leads, and the thing is that I found interesting is they were high quality leads, which I was a little surprised at because there's a lot of tire kickers there normally, but they were pretty high quality. That was for our Central Virginia office, and it was just a one building show. But now a full season is going to kick off again in January, and so I work for two different companies, and we have completely different ways of viewing it. Our owner in Chesapeake has now said he doesn't want to do any more home shows. It's not because we were getting leads and we're getting sales. He has to spend so much money on the manpower, paying people to work the 3-day show, that it eats up a lot of the profit. And then you also have to have people go in and set it up. So you've got maybe 5 days set aside where you're paying an hourly wage to people. And it costs a lot of money when you filter that into it. Then the office in Richmond, we definitely need the leads. So we're looking at the home show as more of a lead generator. And we kicked off a new product, which I think helped us in the fall. So we'll continue to do them in that market, and we'll see what happens in the Chesapeake market. That one may not do any more home shows.
And is it that they also don't need the leads as much in Chesapeake? You mentioned that Richmond is more hungry for leads.
Yeah, but both offices need leads, particularly right now. I have a feeling that when it comes around about February and, the leads are low, our owner is going to say, oh, let's go ahead and do that home show.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Like I said in the beginning, I do worry a little bit about what's happening with inflation, and that if these prices keep rising, people are going to be scared to spend that kind of money. And that's what worries me. Do you know that I read that appliances have gone up 20% like in since 2020. I mean, just in like a really short period of time, these prices, and I'm noticing it too. And I'm noticing it. I'm sure other people are. And that's, I don't know, makes me think that it might be you're not just going to be writing orders, that's for sure, you know.
Right.
So, okay, let's see. New topic. What should we talk about? Let me look at what is in the chat. I love that people are so interactive on this. So here's a question for Greta. Greta, how would you recommend getting started with the blogging on the projects? Like, is anyone using Project Map It, or are people, how would you, if you didn't have that in place in your company, what would you do to get it running?
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna do it yourself, you mean?
I guess, or
Yeah,
if you
sure.
could
If you
walk me through the two scenarios.
Um,
Yourself or outsourcing
I
it.
think, yeah, I think if you're gonna do it yourself, I mean, just do it in a Google spreadsheet, like grab your photography, ask your sales rep to give you a little rundown of how the appointment was, like, you know, how they handled it, how they got the client through A through Z. And then maybe get like a little update from your project manager, how the project went, if you don't know it already. And then just hopefully that client maybe left a review and you can put it all together. I think it's just a matter of like, do you enjoy writing? But one thing I can tell you is that you don't have to write this professionally by any means. Nobody that's reading this is gonna like spell check you or grammar check you. Like they're just gonna be fishing for words that they are like, oh, like this is cool. They did the Jonas house like down the street. Like I didn't even know that, you know, that they were even in the area. I think it's just about being relatable to that neighborhood because you're speaking to a particular group of people. And just think of this as like modern day canvassing. Like if you could get on a microphone at the end of each street and tell them what you did, like, hey, I just did house number 33 and this is how I did it. That's really what you're doing in a blog format. So when I used to do it myself, that's exactly what I used to do. I used to grab a spreadsheet, call the sales guy, like, hey, walk me through like how you pitch this client, then like grab the phone, ask the project manager, and then I put it all together. Like it was pretty bad. You can probably still go on my website and find them and they probably suck, but you know what? It generated leads.
So what do you put in there? Do you tell the story of the client? Like, oh, they had some storm damage, and is it like that? Or is there?
Yeah, exactly. So I divided into 4 sections. I call it the problem, the solution. I'm sorry, the problem, the meeting, the solution, the conclusion.
Gotcha.
So the problem, like why they called, what they were experiencing, the meeting, like what we offered, like how it went, like how we approached it, the solution, like what they went with, and then the conclusion, like, you know, like we closed the permits, we called the city hall, everybody's happy, like we're gonna make it a little bit about that town. Like I always try to use keywords about the town, the project, but really even about the neighborhood. Like, you know, I try to speak to like, you know, when we helped this client on Valleywood Road, you know, in this town, it was great. And just kind of focus on making it all about that street. Again, just think of it if you were going to talk to somebody down the street, like what would you tell them about the house you just did?
And when you put it up on social, are you hashtagging it as well?
Yeah, of course. So once I put it, I do like an OG image. It's like your web developer should know this. It's like a particular image that's you use at the bottom of each web page you create. So when it's shared on social, it has like a nice, it's just not like a generic picture. So I create that with Adobe, or like you can create it on Canva. I create like a very specific picture that actually has the title of the project. So if it's a roof repair in that town or like whatever it is, and then I just share it. Like once the web page is published, and I just share it on socials and everything like that. Well, of course, with the appropriate hashtags.
That's awesome. And then do you, in terms of interfacing with we have another question here with the homeowner, do you get permission from them? Do you have a form that they need to sign that permits you to use it for marketing purposes?
Yeah, so of course, like with any type of photography, you should have it just in case they ever come, like, you know, after you. I mean, otherwise, I guess you can just do generic stuff and you can put it together. As long, I mean, I would never mention a client's name or full address. That's like, if we're talking legally, even if they permitted me to do it, I wouldn't do it personally. For many reasons. I just think like that's opening up yourself to something. I think you could mention the street, you can mention the town, you can mention the product type, but I wouldn't go into a lot of detail. I would refer he, she, you know, in those scenarios. And yes, I think you should have a sign off for photography, but we actually mention it right on our contract. It's in pretty big bullet letters. It says that we will be taking photography of the exterior of the home. Again, we're never going to post a picture of the homeowners unless for that you should get another sheet. But these are photography that is just the exterior of the home. There's no proprietary, you know, it's not like
Okay,
even
so
the,
there's nothing in there with the homeowner's image at all.
no, I don't like to get into that. I think to me, it's like opening yourself for vulnerability down the road if there ever was like a security breach or something. I know some people are very okay with that, then that's okay. I think it depends on your business model and how much liability you're willing to absorb if somebody ever says like they got harassed because you posted something. I don't know. I think that's
So-
getting way too down the rabbit hole, but I think
I hear
use your
you.
best
No,
judgment.
no. I hear you. I think it's a judgment call. And, it's really interesting. I've done some roundtable talks about video and about sort of like strategies for incorporating video. And there's definitely two schools of thought about using homeowners in the video. And I think this is a nice segue into that. So Savannah or Vicky, do you use video? Do you feature testimonials from homeowners at all? Do you shy away from that? What are your positions on that?
We use photos all the time, but we rarely show homeowners. Occasionally we do. We have a referral program, and if somebody gives us 3 referrals, we take a picture of them with a check for $500. So we just put their first name and the first letter of their last name. And we use customer testimonials. We do the same thing. We'll put like Mary T, Chesapeake, or Bob C, Carrollton, or whatever. We never ever identify the location of the project other than the city, and we don't identify the customer other than their first name and the first letter of their last initial. And it's just, I mean, I feel like that's the best thing to do. But we also, in our contracts, we do the same thing that Greta does. We have permission when they sign the contract. It gives us permission to shoot photos of their project and to use it for social media. But we're careful in how we identify it.
Gotcha. And then how about you, Savannah?
Yeah, and we're very similar to how Vicky's mentioning it as well too. So we do a lot of photography and stuff like that. We share photos on our social media. And then with our winners from our drawings and stuff, we always have additional documentation signed so that we can take a picture of the customer, and we do release, first name, last initial, and the city that they're from, just because I personally feel like it lets people connect, like, oh, look, somebody from, Minneapolis just won the drawing. That's so cool. I live in Minneapolis. And it just helps them to connect a little bit more.
So, and then do you do videos at all then involving homeowners, any of the 3 of you, or no?
So we've done a little bit of video with like customer testimonials. We've put them up on like our website or our Google page, that kind of stuff. And then we actually have one of our top sales reps was in a home the other day, and we had a customer that she was working with who recreated one of our commercials, because one of our sales reps in our commercial, he's like, whoa, you gotta love that, Minnesota. And the customer like reenacted it. So we're trying to get more fun things like that, where the customer is like showing who they are really, so that we can help other people in the community kind of connect with, the emotion that they felt while they were purchasing from us.
Oh, that's great. I love that. I love the creative, fun ideas, because I think a lot of the marketing in this industry is kind of consistent. It's like you sort of know what to expect when you look at marketing programs in the home improvement industry. And I love when something's a little different, when it stands out, when it has a sense of fun, when it tells a story. I think the storytelling is so important. So that's great. So Vicky or Greta, do you use any video at all?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah, we do. We don't do as much as Greta, but we do it right now. I'm testing something a little different. We're having our operations manager, Josh, do some videos, because he's really big into TikTok for some reason. So
TikTok, yeah.
He volunteered to do it because he's been doing some, I think, with his kids on TikTok. I don't know, but he volunteered. So he's been going out to projects, and he's been talking about, okay, he shows us what a leaf guard gutter is. He shows us the downspouts we use. He talks to customers and shows them what we're doing on a project. They're short and sweet. So we're trying some of those. It's hard for us to get video unless I hire a videographer, which I do on occasion when we have a project that has multiple aspects, like a roof, gutters, siding. It might have 3 or 4 different things, so we can get the most bang for our buck, because those photo shoots are expensive and I have to hire somebody to do that. But
they are.
Yeah.
Although I do think, and Greta, certainly you can speak to this, I do think that the expectation of videos, the quality of video has gone down quite a bit. I don't think anybody is expecting like this like Oscar award winning quality video, you know, with the big fancy lighting like they used to. I think that, and I also think as that expectation has gone down, the iPhone is so fantastic now, like those new cameras that they have, it's astonishing what they can do. So I think I'm seeing a lot of companies out there just doing their own videos and they look pretty good.
Absolutely. I mean, when it comes to video, there's no right or wrong. I just think it's about being consistent and being authentic. I think the more you're utilizing video to answer people's question, the better. I think like if you don't feel comfortable like doing full production videos, like anything on an iPhone by yourself should be fine. I do think that it's at some point you should invest some money with a videographer just so they can make nicer edits. And again, those are videos you can keep for like a good 2 quarters back to back, and you can multi-purpose them. You can put them as email sign-outs. Your call center could use them to like try to rehash appointments, maybe by sending them like emails, like here's our top 5 questions answered. That's one that did really well for us. I did like the 10 most popular questions in the roofing industry. And then we send that even to prospecting clients, older clients, future clients, and that worked really well. So I don't think there's a right or wrong answer, but I do think that you should allocate some budget to work with a good videographer that's able to do good edits that create impact and keep the viewer engaged.
That's great. And I like that. Again, the creative approach to the top 10, that's fantastic. Those listicles are so good. So somebody here Amy asked about posting like when you post a video, like say to Reels on Instagram or, any of those things where they disappear really quickly. Where do you post your videos so that they don't just disappear?
Well, my videos, the best videos that do really well are on my website. The next videos that do really well are on Facebook, on campaigns. Not really on Facebook, but campaigns pushed, right? Promoted. Funny videos, sometimes videos that get kind of like hate, but it's good because it makes the video trend. I know one year we did like a video free roof. It was supposed to be a joke for insurance claims, but a lot of homeowners took it really bad. But it was good because the video got like 20,000 views organically, so it was nice.
Oh, Greta, that's so awesome. That's so cool.
But then homeowners started arguing with each other because one homeowner would be like, "Bro, they're joking. Like, don't you get it? Like, of course, it's not free." And then somebody's like, "Well, I really thought it was free." And then somebody'd be like, "All right, stop being so gullible, like believing everything you see on the internet." So it was funny, but it's moments like that. Like sometimes you just make something and you hope people engage to it. I mean, that's the goal of video, right? You want engagement. But those are the 2 best places where they could live, on your website and on Facebook. On Instagram, I will say Reels. They're never really going to give you lead generation, but they're going to create branding. And I think to Reels, there's a golden rule to it. Don't post way too many Reels, because I notice a lot of clients are just posting just Reels. Instagram algorithms will eventually ding you for that. You want to have a healthy mixture. So you want to be able to mix it up between posts, IGTV, Reels, and so you're constantly flipping those. Don't only use Reels, because Reels, yes, the numbers will say 10,000, but if you're just relying on that, eventually you will have a negative ding on your. And then there's like the 10-10-3 rule, 10 posts a day, 10 stories a day, 10 posts a week is a really good rate, and 3 things that have nothing to do with your business. So
I also think that you should reiterate, if you don't mind. Earlier, you said how long the videos should be. And I think it's really important, because I think a lot of people have videos that are too long. And the number that you gave was very short. So
30 seconds, 15 seconds for Reels. 15-second Reels are more than enough. 30-second Reels are good. 60-second Reels are just, at that point, they're boring. So. But I mean, I guess it's all about consistency. If you can find 10 stories to do a day, it's a lot though. But if you can find 10 stories to do a day, there's a magic in that number.
That's a lot. That's quite a bit. Do you have
I actually don't do that. So I'm being honest with you. It's something that I'm working on myself for the next year. I know my team keeps pushing me. They're saying you got to post sometimes even twice a day. But 10 posts a week is really a sweet number, because what they're telling you to do is alternate that between Reels, IGTV, and posts and videos. So if you have a 10 mixture of those things, then you're in a good place. And then if you have 10 stories a day, you're in a really good place. But obviously I don't have 10 stories a day, so I'm not in a good place. My Instagram was really popular. We're like at 3,200 followers that we kind of just dived. Like we haven't grown since. And then 3 things not about your business. That's really important because nobody wants to listen to just roofing.
Except other roofers. Even other roofers probably don't want to listen to only things about roofing. So, okay, we are starting to get short on time. We have enough time maybe for one more quick topic. Does anybody want to have like some closing thoughts or something that, you know, that I didn't bring up or that wasn't brought up on the chat that you want to touch on?
I did. I wanted to talk about comparing 2021 to 2020 and 2019. I don't know if other people have seen this, but it's a big topic with us. I'm ready for the year to end so we can go back to apples. Around about the spring, we started seeing a huge variation between leads for 2021 as compared to the same time period in 2020. So this went on for a couple of weeks, and I kept saying, okay, we have 100 leads for this period, this reporting period in 2021. We had 175 in 2019. In 2020, sorry. And our owner said, you've got to stop comparing this year with last year. And last year was an anomaly to us. We've completely not taken it off our books, but we don't refer to it anymore because leads were coming at us so fast and furious, we couldn't even handle them. Everybody was at home. They looked at everything in their house and hated it and wanted it fixed. Everything, interior, exterior, everything. So the phone was ringing off the hook. This year, people have been able to spend their money on other things. Some people have actually done vacations and things. We're finding that lead gen has gone down some, and it's not there like it was last year. So we stopped comparing this year and last year, and we compare this year now to 2019. And we found that if we had 100 leads in this reporting period this year, we might have 98 in 2019. So it's a much better comparison. And I think that other people have seen that. So I think it's been a very big topic for us. Our owner said,
that's fascinating.
Our owner even said he said, Vicki, you got to stop doing this. You're depressing everybody. So we went back to comparing to 2019. It's been a much fairer comparison.
So I think that it depends on what part of the industry you're in, because I think it depends on project size. I think it depends on what part of the country you're in, because I've heard a lot of people where 2021, I mean, just went gangbusters with leads, just like 2020 did. I mean, it was just this insane year. And then I've heard some people say what you're saying. So it's really, I think there's more regional differences than normal in this COVID environment. And I think it's because some parts of the country were more locked down for longer than other parts of the country. So I think those parts of the country where they were more locked down, the people are in their homes. Like you said, they hate their homes. Whereas the people who were out and about a little bit earlier and longer probably felt like, they didn't hate their homes quite as much. So I think that accounts for some of those differences.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're finding, I think we started seeing this deviation about, I'd say in the spring. It was strong through the first part of the year. Then I think as the weather warmed and people started getting out and they were able to travel, people got vaccinated, things like that. It allowed some of the freeing up of them to be able to do other things, and they changed their focus a little bit more.
Yep. Interesting. Okay. Final thoughts, closing thoughts from Greta and Savannah.
I had one thing that I guess I wanted to add in there for everybody. I think one of the biggest things that you can do when you are trying to grow your leads is to really know who your customer is. Find a good company to create you a profile to show you, the age range, how long they've owned their homes, how old their home is, their interests, those kind of things. Because I think we all have this picture in our mind of what our perfect customer is, and we really build our messages to target that demographic. And without really knowing who your customer is, you could really be just I guess, limiting your growth. You could be off by 20 years, you know, instead of just advertising on Facebook and TV and the newspaper, now you could throw TikTok in there or Instagram, because now you know that your age demographic is a little bit younger than what you were thinking, you know, so it's really a good point to make sure that you know who you are selling to.
That is an excellent point. Thank you. And Greta.
Yeah, for sure. So I think going off of that, I think that's been the biggest thing to me as a young woman in the trades, you know, with no family here. I'm an only child. I don't have cousins or brothers in the States, but yet I've been able to dominate. And I think it's just understanding who am I speaking to, and understanding who that person is. And I think every day when I wake up, I'm not fascinated to do every roof. I just want to do the right roofs. And it's also about understanding profitability, something that I've worked really hard at and with my team. And I think it's not about getting more leads, it's about shifting your profits on jobs. So I think as marketing, obviously this is a marketing webinar, but I think that you have to challenge your sales team, and you have to challenge your whole structure too. So, because if you're noticing that you're tapping out leads, it's not always the marketing's fault. Like, you know, the marketing can only do so much. I think you have to start looking at growth in all departments, and growth. Sometimes you need to look at your sales and your profitability and realize that maybe you can make little increments here and there that can make a huge impact to the overall team, right? That, you know, a couple of hundreds on every job, if you're doing thousands of jobs, that's a huge increase on your sales. And I think that's something that I realized 3 years ago. I realized I'm not going to burn out my marketing department, but I'm going to increase my sales department equally with my marketing department. So my sales team knows, like, they don't always look at marketing to bring in new leads. They find ways to make the best out of the lead, adding add-ons, creating upper ticket items. And our sales, our median sales ticket price has increased like over $5,000 just in the last 24 months. Now that obviously has to do a lot with inflation, but we were already planning on that regardless. Like before COVID even began, we had ways that we were going to have our sales department come up and not always overwhelm marketing. So I'm not really concerned with bringing leads. I'm more concerned of what sales ticket price, like what can we sell something? I guess I'm using that designer approach, right? Like I want to be the designer bag. I don't want to be just the everyday bag. And that's like something that drives me and my team every day. And I think it really resonates in my brand.
That's the sweet spot. That's for sure. I mean, that's awesome. Okay, well, thank all of you for joining. This has been such an exciting conversation. I love the energy. I love the insights. I love, frankly, that it's a bunch of women in an industry that has been, you know, known for its male dominance for so long. And it's a bunch of women who are, not a bunch, I mean, but that you are doing such a phenomenal job and really thinking so strategically. And as Greta said, just dominating the market. It's just wonderful. It does my soul good. So I guess that's it. Kristen, do you have closing words?
Yeah. So first of all, thank you guys so much on behalf of Leap for being here. We really, really appreciate it. And Erica, you covered everything I want to say, but power to the women in this, on this webinar, and those watching and in the industry. We do have a few minutes left for Q&A. I have a couple questions of my own. If you guys have any additional questions, please put them in the chat or the Q&A box now. We also do want to let you know that Leap is doing a special giveaway for the month of December. We are raffling off up to three iPads and an exclusive one-on-one coaching session with Dave Yoho. And just by being here on this webinar, you guys are already entered, which is awesome. You can earn additional entries by attending a demo with Leap, which I will launch a poll right here if you guys are interested in doing that. Give me 1 second here. And I also want to invite everyone to attend our next webinar, which is taking place Tuesday, the 28th of December. Hard to believe that'll be the last one of the year. I cannot believe we're saying goodbye to 2021 already. And that will be held with Mark Richardson, who is the author of The Art of Time Mastery, the 7 Steps for Mastering Your Time. And he will speak about reducing stress and accomplishing more in the new year, which I think is actually going to go really great with everything that we learned. You guys spoke about today. I have 3 pages of notes just from your guys' chat today. So really great things to bring in the new year. And next week you can learn how to do that with a good time management.
Mark is wonderful too. I will give a shout out to Mark. We work with him on our brand, and he's just a great industry resource.
Yes, he's fantastic. Also, do want to let you all know that this webinar is recorded and we will send it out in a few days. So please feel free to share that with your team members, anyone else that you want to show this, that you think would have some value from this webinar, which I think everyone would. And please also visit our website. There are tons of resources there, additional webinars, other case studies and ebooks and things like that. So before we take up too much time of your day, just a couple of quick questions. Vicki, can you confirm one more time for us what the campaign was with Nextdoor that you found was more successful?
It's the one that is an offer.
An offer.
There's
Okay.
only two options, and you want to do a deal, make an offer.
Excellent, thank you. And we'll make this one as quick as possible, but a couple people mentioned some intrigue about referral marketing. Do you guys have some top tips and tricks that you can share with that, things that you found have worked well with your referrals?
So we actually focus on sending out a referral form to all of our customers after a project has been completed, to see if they'll return it, and we offer them, of course, some type of incentives based off of how many people they refer and what the contract price might be. But then we use like Google reviews and stuff like that is huge for us. We incentivize our installers, our measure techs, our service guys, everybody, when they are in a home, get the customer to leave us a 5-star review. We have a simple little leave behind with a QR code on it that links to our Google reviews on our My Business page. And we're getting over 100 5-star reviews per month right now. And that really is like a deciding factor for a lot of people. They're going to go on and research. So even if you get a referral from somebody that they know, they're going to go on and look you up. So having those 5-star reviews, it's really easy to kind of bury any negative ones, because we know there's going to be some bad ones in there somewhere. You can't please everybody. So really focus on like Google as well.
I will say one thing that's worked really well for us, to those listening, is to offer a gift card to a local establishment. We pick restaurants just because restaurants were hurting. So that really helped us a lot. So every time somebody gives us a referral, it's $100 gift card to a local restaurant in their town. And people really like that because now they have an incentive to grow the sales of the restaurants in their town by just letting others know that they had a roof done by Golden Group. So our referrals jumped up like by 40%. So we almost doubled our referrals. And that was just because we had like a restaurant, like Golden Group will give you $100 to your local restaurant if you refer, So that was really cool. I think that's really nice to help restaurants since they're suffering a lot through the pandemic.
Absolutely. That's such a great idea. And what a way to serve, not just help you guys get referrals, but to serve your community as well. I think that's awesome. I think that is all of our questions for today. Ladies, thank you again so much for being here, taking time out of a busy schedule during a crazy time of year. It's very much appreciated. If you guys said you wanted to learn more about LEAP, our team will be reaching out to you directly. Otherwise, have a wonderful afternoon and happy holidays to you all. Please stay safe and healthy.
Happy holidays.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Bye.
Thank you.